Hey everybody, it's Haley Hobson. How are you? I am here today to actually blow your mind with a new kind of thinking. And before I start, I actually have to give credit to my own life coach, Brooke Castillo, who's just amazing and who rocked my world a couple weeks ago when I went to spend a week with her. And this little model that I want to talk about tonight in every aspect of our life has made such a shift and difference in my life, both in my personal life and in my business, that I feel compelled to share it with you too. So let me first introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. Again, my name is Haley Hobson, and I am a life coach and a business coach. And I like to call myself a mom entrepreneur. And I have started many businesses before, and I'm kicking butt right now and super passionate about being both an entrepreneur and a mom, and about my clean eating and nutrition and all of that whole you stuff that I talk about in my blog. And today, again, I want to talk to you guys about how you can make a shift in your life, get different results simply by choosing what you think about. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? All right, so let me give you a first example. Last week, I let the dog out. And when I let the dog out, the dog got muddy paws all over the house. And my thought was that my husband got really pissed off at me. And in my body, I started to feel sort of angry about it for a second, that he was getting mad at me, or that I thought he was getting mad at me because I thought I did a favor to him by letting the dog out. And then my action was, at that moment of feeling angry, is I could have been really defensive and picked a fight, or I could have chosen something else had my thought been something else, which I'll go back to in a second. And therefore, the result can be whatever the result is based on the action. So for instance, if I believed that my husband was pissed off at me and then I got angry and picked a fight with him, the result would probably be no good, right? But instead, I could have chosen to choose a thought. I let the dog out. The dog got muddy paws all over the floor. And I'm so excited that the cleaning ladies are coming later today, which they actually were. And then the feeling would have been that feeling of excitement. The thought might have been, the cleaning ladies are coming. Good luck. The cleaning ladies are coming. Good luck for me. The feeling could have been excitement that they were coming, or relief that my husband really wasn't mad at me. The action was, if I sensed something, maybe I wouldn't have reacted because I knew that they could clean up the mess, and that my thought was now a little bit more positive. And then the result, well, again, it depended on what I took my thought to mean. Are you guys following me? So if I choose to have the thought, my husband is mad at me, or, oh, I let the dog in the house. I mean, I could have simply had the thought, oh, the dog got muddy paws all over the floor. That could have been my thought in and of itself. Then a feeling is generated in my body based on that thought. And that is where my action and results come from. So if I want a good result of not fighting with my husband, then my thought can be, oh, the dog came in with muddy paws. Woo, good thing the cleaning ladies are coming. Super relieved. I'm just going to give my husband a kiss goodbye, head out the door to the gym. Result is great. Nothing happens negatively in our marriage. We only have to think about think about changing our thoughts when we want to change the result in our life. And for me, a result of having a positive marriage and an action of fighting or not fighting is important to me. So I'm really super careful about what thoughts I choose to think, because I know that that's going to spin into feelings in my body. If you're actually happy with the results that you're getting, you don't even have to worry about changing your thoughts. Okay? So the bottom line is that circumstances create our thoughts. Thoughts generate the feelings that we feel, the sensations in our body, which then produce an action, which then give us a result. Okay? And while the thought, feeling, action, results thing is not new, people have been talking about it for years. What I loved when I met Brooke was that she brought the circumstance into it and explained that circumstances are neutral, you guys. They're a constant. And the problem arises when we start to think that our thoughts are our circumstances. In other words, when we start to think something like, the dog came in with muddy paws all over the house, that is a thought. It's not a circumstance. Because if we took it into a judge in a court of law, they might have a debate on whether the mud was really all over the house. You see what I'm saying? Like in this case, the mud was tracked through the front of the house, through our living room area, up our stairs, and into our bed, which to me my thought might be, oh, the mud is all over the house, right? Oh, my husband's going to be mad at me. The feeling is anxious, or I don't know what kind of feeling. I could have a million feelings about what could happen at that point. But that really wasn't the circumstance. The circumstance is that the dog went out, or that I have a dog. The thought that can be generated can be anything. And if you want a different result than the one you're getting, you might have to shift how you train your mind so a new feeling is generated. Now, in my business, the business that I do, network marketing, it's so easy to pack up and quit. And we are taught over and over and over again to go back to our why, like why we are here. Why did we come to do this in the beginning? For many people, it's because they don't like the profession that they're in or the job that they have. They want to be their own boss. They want to start their own business. They want a form of residual income. They want more time freedom, financial freedom, whatever it is. We're taught always to go back to our why we are here. And that will help us not quit when the going gets tough, right? What I want to explain to you today is that our why isn't enough. I was taught to teach the why. And when you ask yourself why, it can give you a feeling of remembering why you're here. But if you're still having thoughts that are making you feel crappy, no matter how much you want to be doing your business, you won't. You'll quit, and then you won't get the result that you want. We have to actually believe our thoughts. And just because we dream them in our why doesn't mean that we believe them. How the results we get are determined by us, our thoughts, and not by outside external factors is what I really want to explain to you today. I think, again, so many times we blame circumstances, everything around us for the results that we're getting. And what I want you guys to realize is that you have the power to change your own results, and you can literally start this today. So I want to tell you another story. When I was 22 years old, I was absolutely miserable. I've just started to talk about this a little bit. I was in law school, the very beginning of law school. I was really underweight. I know I had an eating disorder. That's a thought, though, at the time. And I was anxious. I was depressed. I was actually on anti-anxiety medication, depression medication, sleep medication. It's funny because I've been asking my mom to show me a picture, send me a picture of what I looked like during this time period so I could kind of give you a visual of how different my aura is from today. And she told me that she didn't take pictures during this entire time period because I was so sick. Her thought, of course. But it's interesting because I have nothing documenting my life for those several years where I was struggling with this. And the circumstance was not that I was miserable. The circumstance was not that I was under stress from law school. The circumstance was not that I was depressed. The circumstance was that I saw the scale go down to under 100 pounds. The thought was that I was not thin enough. The feeling I continued to get or generate in my body was I was insecure. My actions were that I continued to eat less and less, and the result was I actually felt worse. Now, oftentimes we try to change what I call the C line, our circumstance, or hold ourselves victim to it, like we talked about before, or we try to change the action line. Like here, in order to feel better, I was eating less, or I could stop eating, or we could change the circumstance where we try to change the weight to feel better. Do you guys see where I'm going? If I'm not thin enough in my eyes, if I'm thinking I'm not thin enough, there's some work to do around that. Why did I believe that I was not thin enough? Why was I choosing to think that? What was I making that to mean for myself, my weight? And if I could have gotten to the bottom of that way back then, I probably would have been able to work myself through some of this insecurity, depression, anxiety, and it would have had nothing to do with my weight. Do you guys see where I'm going? But instead, I tried to change my circumstance by continuing to change my weight, and it actually made me feel worse. So, in order to change that result, I can't or couldn't keep eating less. I had to change the thought I was not thin enough so that I would feel differently. So let me give you another example that also has to do with weight. Let's just say Sarah weighs 200 pounds. That's a circumstance. It can be proven. She steps on a scale. Her thought may be she doesn't think it's possible to lose weight, and she doesn't believe that she can give up cheese because it's the favorite thing in her diet. As a result, she feels depressed about her failed attempts. The action is that she blows off the gym and isn't strategic about her food choices, and the result is she continues to never lose weight. So with the new model that I want to show you, you'll see that if we want to change the result from she never loses weight to she loses weight, she must change the thought that she doesn't think it's possible. Where is that thought coming from? And is it true? And if it's not true, what could she believe instead? So again, I want you to understand this new method of looking at your mind, which I believe will blow it wide open, and give you a completely different result than the one that you've been getting, assuming that you're looking for a new one. And I think you are, and that's why you're here. So let's change it. Sarah weighs 200 pounds still. Her new thought is that she wants to lose weight, but she thinks it's going to be worth it. The feeling now that she has is she's excited about the challenge and getting out of her comfort zone. The action becomes that she actually goes to the gym and starts to focus her energy on understanding nutrition. And the result is that she loses weight. And guess what, you guys? She still likes cheese, but she loves her new life more and was willing to believe that she could give it up for a new body. So what do you want? You want a change in your life, right? You want a change that makes you feel badass. One that makes you feel exhilarated when you wake up in the morning, right? Like you want to run around the house dancing naked or laugh so hard that you pee in your pants. Like you want to yell from the top of your lungs that you're friggin' amazing, right? That sounds easy, doesn't it? A life that you simply just absolutely love. But the truth of the matter is many of us are not living like that. And you're still, no matter how easy it seems on paper, not at the level that you would like to be. You're not at the place where you are authoring the novel, which is your life. And you guys, you know that this life ain't no dress rehearsal, right? So you realize that you need to make a change if you want to feel differently and if you want a different outcome. So, what if I told you that it's not just about working harder, which is changing the A line, or trying to change your circumstance, but that change actually starts from your thoughts? So, let me review this for you again. I got a text message a couple days ago, and this is what it sounded like from my leader, verbatim. Actually, I quoted it. Hey, sorry I haven't connected. It's been a little crazy and stressful looking at houses and dealing with putting down offers, etc. But I'm back home today and focusing on catching up. Had several team calls, a few one-on-one meetings, a few emails to get out, samples to get out, etc. I need to put a lot of time into my marketing project as well, as I'm feeling a little bit behind the 8 ball there. Here's another one. I just don't know how this next rank or / promotion, if you're not in a rank-based business, is possible. No one's attending my events. My leaders or people on my team aren't doing anything. I'm just not sure this is even for me. Do you guys see how all of that is just a thought after thought after thought? I don't know how it's possible is a thought. No one is attending is a thought. My people aren't doing anything is a thought. I'm just not sure this is for me is a thought. So this person is actually believing all of these thoughts in her brain. And it may seem innocuous, and it may even seem like a true story to you. And if many of you are actually looking to up level in your life, in your company, in your business, you may want to review these thoughts. So let's look at them again. How does it feel to be crazy or stressed or have a thought that you have to catch up, or a thought that you're really behind the 8 ball? How does it feel to have a thought that the next rank is not possible, or that no one is attending your events or your leaders are doing nothing? How does that feel in your body? What is the sensation? Now, a feeling is something that we have been taught to diminish in our society. Oftentimes, we do things like drink too much, or eat too much, or sleep too much, or work too much, or do nothing to sort of take ourselves away from the pain or the sorrow or the depression or any type of feeling in our body that doesn't feel good to us. I have to admit, I do not like to feel bad. Who does, right? It feels bad to feel bad, right? I don't like to cry. I don't like to feel sad or depressed or like a loser or like a failure. Those feelings, though, are real, and we have to acknowledge them. And oftentimes, sometimes, most times, it's through feeling something that actually gets us to the next place of our life. It's the time where we can actually grow up emotionally, from emotional children to emotional adults who can understand our feelings and take responsibility if we let ourselves, and therefore own up in our life and create different results. So I personally have lots of thoughts every day that make me feel crappy about myself or someone else. And if I let myself feel like that and I don't take responsibility, I'm a child. Every single result I'm getting is my fault. Every single result I'm getting is a direct result of what I'm doing, not somebody else. So if I'm thinking something that's making me feel something, it's up to me to change it, to take responsibility. Now, I'll give you an example of something that I feel often. I actually have a fear of heights, and the feeling that that comes into my body when I'm up high is anxiety. I can like feel it in my skin. I can feel it in my stomach. Like when I'm walking across a really high bridge or I'm in an elevator that's glass, I get queasy in my body. That's a feeling. Okay? The thought is I'm afraid of heights, or even the circumstance in this point could be fear of heights. And the thought can be, oh, I'm going to spiral out of control. And the feeling can be the anxiety that comes from that spiraling out of control. And then the action could be is I start to sweat and shut down and won't go in an elevator. And the result is that my fear continues to spiral. So what do I have to do in a situation when I'm feeling something? In this situation, I find it quite embarrassing, to be honest with you. I mean, it's gotten so bad. I keep telling myself over and over again that I'm afraid of heights, that I think that I'm making my fear worse. My thought that I'm afraid is making me more afraid, if you can believe that. And I've noticed that even now in an adult life, I'm more and more afraid of getting on certain on-ramps and highways, because I have this fear that my car is going to go off the edge, or in a parking lot where the on-ramp to get into the parking lot is going up and up and up and up in a spiral, because I'm telling myself I'm afraid. It's crazy. And the older I get, the worse the fear gets, because I'm letting myself acknowledge the fear. I'm believing the fear. So I have a choice. I can sit there and go, okay, fear, here it is again. This is the thought. Here's fear coming on by. I'm going to have a feeling. I'm going to recognize the feeling. It will go away. And then I can move on with my life. Or I can decide to change the thought if I want to and tell myself I'm not afraid of heights. I'm not sure that I'd really believe that. So I'm not sure if that thought would work for me right now. But like, with the thought about, I don't think I can lose weight, I bet you I could change that thought if I really needed to. Because I do believe, if assuming I needed to lose weight, I do believe I have the capacity to take certain things like cheese out of my diet, or to eat less, or to recognize sensations in my body of being hungry and not emotionally eat. I do believe I have that capacity. So I could change that thought and then generate a new feeling of productiveness, or being proud that I can own a new thought and actually get it done. With the fear thing, I'm not sure if I really believe that I'm not afraid of heights. I actually really believe I am. So in that situation, I might just have to sit back and go, okay, like presenting in front of thousands of people. I'm not going to admit that I'm okay with that, even though I do it. It is scary every single time I get on stage. So what I do is I tell myself, okay, Haley, you're getting on stage and this is the way you're going to feel. And as soon as you are on stage, the words flow. You know what to say. The anxiety and stress goes away in your body. So just enjoy the process and do it. And you have a message to share. And with that, I step on in front of thousands of people, oftentimes that I don't know, and I do it. And I get over the fear by just simply acknowledging it. Do you guys see that? So I don't know how you'd feel in your body if you told yourself that you couldn't get to the next rank, or that you were way behind in your work, be way behind in the A ball, had to catch up. I don't know how you'd feel in your body, but I probably would feel anxious or depressed or unworthy or pressured, or a whole lot more. Those are the feelings I would generate in my body. And I don't want to feel like that. I would prefer to feel amazing and inspired and passionate and excited and proud. So what do I have to do? Let's look at the model again. The circumstance is I have a business. The thought is the next rank or promotion is not possible. The feeling is I get depressed. The action is maybe inaction, right? I do nothing. And then the next rank is not possible. Or I have a business. The thought is I'm ready for the next rank or promotion. My feeling is passion around what I'm doing and excitement around what I'm sharing. The action is I make relationships, I nurture them, I invite, I close the deal with this incredible energy oozing out from me. And the result is my business explodes. I easily slide into the next rank and promotion. So you have a choice. Do you see that? You really do. You get to think about any circumstance any way you'd like. When you change your thoughts, you change the way you feel, and you achieve the results or the life that you want. Again, as long as you believe it. So after a little of this thought work with my client who didn't think the rank was the next possible, I found out that her thoughts were she couldn't do it because she was raised in another country. She didn't deserve it because she had no money growing up. She thought lowly of herself because she was raised in a circus. She had a childhood she was embarrassed by, and she didn't think she had a message to share or that anyone would listen to her. Her old thought, the rank is not possible, needed to be switched. So let me go back to that past slide for a second. I asked her questions about her being raised in another country with no money in a circus. And I found out that she had moved to the United States. She had built a business here. She had been supporting her family, that she actually opened up an entire business in another country. She was making thousands of dollars a month. And all of a sudden, her thoughts about her changed. I had always had different thoughts about her, but my thoughts don't matter. She can't get the results that she wants unless she believes. Now, it's possible to borrow someone else's thoughts for a while and try to make them your own and believe them, but you must believe them. Well, she did. And the new thought became, I have been on an incredible journey and I have a huge message to share. Her old feeling of embarrassment, shame became empowerment, excitement, and badass. Her old action, which was inaction, became she hosted an incredible event that night and had 100% enrollment rate. So we don't even have to really talk about the results when you hear those feelings that are exploding out of her body. Now, you guys, 90% of the time we're living in the rear lobe of our brain where our thoughts are on a subconscious level. And this is really important. We walk around all the time not thinking, saying things like, I don't know, or I'm not sure, or just being oblivious to what's going on, assuming. I'll give you an example of operating on a subconscious level. Most of you that are probably listening to this right now have your driver's license and know how to drive, right? And you could go from here all the way to the grocery store at home and not remember one turn you made. Why? Because your brain is operating on a subconscious level driving in the car. It knows how to get there. It's done it so many times. It's a pattern that's going on in your brain. I know how to go to the grocery store, no matter what time of day it is, no matter what kind of weather it is, no matter if I'm on the phone or not. I have confidence that I can get there and back. But I probably wouldn't put my 6-year-old behind the wheel and tell her to go to the grocery store and drive, even if I was in the car with her and giving her directions, because she is not able to operate on that subconscious level yet and get to where she wants to be in the car. That's a good thing, right? So sometimes our subconscious mind actually really helps us. It protects us. Oftentimes it's protecting us. But it's time that most of us, all of us, wake up and start operating and coming from a place more from a conscious level in our lives. So again, you guys, we have a choice. Remember that our circumstances create our thoughts, which generate our feelings, which then dictate our actions, which then give us our results. And we entertain indulgent thoughts all the time that are based on past stories in our lives that no longer may be serving us. So for instance, my leader had a story about where she was raised that was no longer serving her. It was not giving her the result that she wanted anymore. Maybe it never was. But when we are told something growing up all of our life, or we have an experience where we tell ourselves something all of our life, it's pretty easy to believe it forever unless we change our thought. Now, for me, I feel like I was lucky. I was raised in a household where my parents believed in me. And they told me all the time how smart I was and how pretty I was and how I could do anything. And so growing up, why wouldn't I believe them? Why wouldn't I choose to believe that I could do anything if I was told? Now, it doesn't mean that I didn't spiral into negative action or results during certain parts of my life based on stories I told myself from experiences I had, but I was lucky that I did believe. And I do believe now that the only thing that separates me in my success from somebody who isn't having the same level of success and who wants it is their thoughts and their belief systems. And I do believe that if you don't have a belief system in yourself, your thoughts will spiral into feelings that will not make you feel good. And therefore, your actions won't be coming from the right place. And therefore, you will not get the results that you want. A lot of people are stuck in stories of who they no longer are, because every thought that we have is based on our interpretation of what really happened, and it's not necessarily true. In fact, even in my own family, my sister and I were raised in the same household with my mom and my dad, and we have very different interpretations of events that happened in our childhood. I mean, we'll argue about it, how different it was. And my mom has very different interpretations. Oh, I never fed you junk food when you were a kid. And I remember every Tuesday night her taking us to McDonald's, which was across the street from my sister's ballet class, and having McDonald's. Now, that's my thought. And hers is that she never fed us junk food. A very different interpretation of what happened. Who knows what's right or wrong? It was like 40 years ago. But oftentimes, we start to believe the stories that we tell ourselves. And oftentimes, our stories are not true. So I ask you guys now, who is ready to disown a story that is no longer serving them? An old story. Who is ready to start noticing their thoughts, become conscious, and potentially choose another one? It's really that simple, you guys. If you're ready for a change, really ready for it, you can totally crush it. And if you're not, and you're still stuck in your old thoughts and your old story, you won't. So are you ready to really own the thoughts that you want to have and author the life that you want to live so that you get the results that you want? I know you can do it. Thank you guys. And as usual, if you need anything, you can find me on my website, HaleyHobson.com, on all my social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, Haley Hobson. See you guys online.